1 minute, everybody, 1 minute.
Hey, Mesh, if you don't fix your camera, I may get seasick. You're listening about. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular City Council meeting for Tuesday, May the 19th. First on the agenda is the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by our own Council Member Stuart Jacobson. Stuart.
Thank you, Mayor. In this extraordinary time of the COVID-19 pandemic, please join me in asking for intervention for those in need. For the sick and infected, God heal and help sustain their bodies and spirits. For our vulnerable populations, God protect our elderly and those suffering from chronic disease. Provide for the poor and the uninsured. For the young and the strong, God give them the necessary caution to keep them from unwittingly spreading this disease. For our local, state, and federal governments, God help our elected officials as they allocate the necessary resources for combating this pandemic. For those with mental health challenges who feel isolated, anxious, and helpless, God please provide them with what they need to heal. For frontline healthcare workers, first responders, and for all who have chosen to serve us in this unprecedented time, we thank you for their vocational call to serve. God keep them all safe and healthy. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Stuart. We move to item number 1, the public comment period. Thomas, did we have anybody that signed up to speak?
No, sir.
Having no one, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Item number 3, consent agenda, 3A, second consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Ordinance number 2198, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, granting a conditional use permit for an automotive oil change facility located on approximately 0.828 acres, located at the northwest intersection of State Highway 6 and Settlers Way Boulevard within the General Business B2 zoning district. Okay, we've got that out of the way. We'll take all these in one motion unless a council member wants to pull an item. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Got a motion to approve by Porter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Gandhi. If you'll vote at this time, please. There we go. We got a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Item number 4, contracts and agreements. 4A, consideration of an action on authorizing the execution of a construction contract with WW Payton Corporation in the amount of $1,990,000 for the groundwater plant upgrade CIP WA 1904 and CIP WA 2004. And Timothy John, our Assistant City Engineer. Tim.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This evening we are seeking your approval for a construction contract. A little bit of a project background. This is the groundwater plant rehabilitation project. It's part of the city's annual CIP program to maintain, improve, and expand. We own and operate 12 groundwater plants scattered throughout the city. It's part of these improvements are based on our groundwater assessment management modeling software that we have in-house. and also working knowledge of groundwater plants from our operators. One of the advantages of this project is at the Greatwood plant, we're going to be adding more storage capacity and redundancy to this groundwater plant. This particular design was started about a year ago, and it was completed in spring of 2020. Next slide. Project scope, identified here, these are the three main items. Is construction of an additional 1 million gallon ground storage tank at the Greatwood No. 1 water plant, which, as I mentioned, will provide additional storage capacity. We're also at 6 of our groundwater plants, we're upsizing and replacing caustic and liquid ammonia sulfate storage tanks. That's to increase operational efficiency and replace aging infrastructure. And these are chemicals that are used for treatment of the water and surface water that are blended together, and this is part of our requirement for water treatment. And then the third item is we have some chemical feed pumps at 3 of the groundwater plants that we need to replace due to aging infrastructure. Next slide. This map depicts the location of the groundwater plants. As you can see, they're all kind of scattered throughout the city. 6 of the plants shown here, Woodchester, Lakeview, Sugar Creek, First Colony, Austin Parkway, and Riverstone, they're the ones that are having the chemical plants, the caustic and liquid ammonia sulfate storage tanks replaced. And the Greatwood plant number 1 is the location where we're having the 1 million gallon ground storage tank installed. Next slide. This project was invitation for bid on April 1 and April 8th, 2020. We opened bids on April 23rd, and we received 5 bids. Next slide. As shown here, these are the 5 bids we received. As I mentioned, the base bid was the ground storage tank and the chemical storage tanks. The alternate bid in this case was the chemical feed pumps. We got very good prices on this for this particular bid. The engineer's probable construction cost was $2.3 million, and the apparent low bidder is W.W. Payton. And just a little bit of history of them. They're out of Brookshire, Texas. They've been in business for over 30 years. They've done work for Sugarland for over 20 years, and they've recently completed several motor control projects, pump and building projects, water plant rehab, and surface water conversion projects. So we're more than pleased to receive their bid. Next slide. From the project funding perspective, we have 2 available budget sources. One is the CIP WA 1904 water plant upgrades, and it has available funds of a little over $1.8 million. And then CIP WA 2004, which is a similar funding source. It's the water plant rehab 2000 project for $898,000. So those 2 combined have $2,775,299 available. For the actual construction contract this evening that we're considering for your approval, we would utilize all the funds out of CIP WA 1904 and would use a partial of the funds from CIP WA 2004 shown here for a total contract price of $1,990,000. Next slide. For the remaining project, WA 2004, we would have some future construction admin, materials testing, and project contingency around $175,000 out of that project. And then the remaining balance of WA 2004 will be used for 7 additional groundwater plant projects. And I might add that at the last council meeting on consent, City Council had approved the design for WA 2004, and that design fee was around $200,000. So the remaining funds for WA 2004 will be used for construction next year. Next slide. The project schedule, assuming there's approval this evening, we would anticipate notice to proceed in June of 2020. We have 330 calendar days, and we expect substantial completion in May of 2021. Next slide. So as far as construction impacts, we anticipate very minimal impacts. All the work is going to be done inside the water plants. We do not anticipate any service interruptions. The one groundwater plant for the ground storage tank That one, we will have notification next to the residents for both door hangers and one-on-one communication when the project starts. The next slide. So with that, our recommendation is to approve the construction contract in the amount of $1,990,000 with W.W. Payton for groundwater plant rehab project CIP WA 1904 and CIP 2004. And with that, I can answer questions, and we also have our project manager, Ross, and the contractor online if you have additional questions.
I think the way to do it, handle questions with staff, if you've got a question for staff, if you just raise your hand and we'll recognize you. Carol?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Tim, when you did your probable construction cost, what was a very rough percentage that the 1 million gallon ground storage tank at Grapewood water plant going to be? Is it like half of the total cost, or most of it, or a small amount, or do you remember?
Well, I anticipated that question. The way we bid this project, it was actually lump sum.
Right.
So it's not actually broken down, but I can tell you that typically for ground storage tanks, it usually runs about probably anywhere from 80 cents to $1 per gallon. So that's been historical numbers. So it's a pretty good number, but it's well worth the price that we're getting for this project.
Oh, certainly. I was just sort of curious about that, because I know, and then we're looking at upsizing 6 of the storage tanks at the groundwater plant. So will the other 6 be upsized next year, or have they already been done?
Well, those other plants already have redundant ground storage tanks, so we're not anticipating those having any additional ground storage tanks. The item that is being upgraded at these 6 plants are the actual the chemical feed tanks.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. I must have said the wrong thing. Yeah. So on the chemical storage tanks at those 6 plants, have those been upgraded yet at the other 6? Or will that be those chemical, the caustic and liquid ammonia sulfate storage tanks be upgraded next year?
Yeah, we constantly evaluate and look at those, and we do have this other project that I had mentioned earlier about a design project that we had approved last year. I'm sorry, the one we approved at last city council meeting. And so, yes, we are looking at those, but for now, these are the ones that we consider to be the most critical.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Carol, I assume you're okay with how close this tank is going to be to any other residential areas?
Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Mayor, I got another question for Tim. Tim, the caustic tank replacements, that sounds kind of a little bit risky in terms of what's inside of it. Can you talk to us a little bit about how they do that and how they make sure that goes safely?
Sure, they're required to follow their health and safety regulations. They have a health and safety plan. This material is considered, it's caustic, it's sodium hydroxide. It's used for chemical treatment, but they follow all the safety precautions, all the TCQ requirements. We monitor that with our staff as well, and they have all the protective equipment that they use when they come in and out of the facility. Material itself would be brought into the site probably via vehicles, and it would be all contained and disassembled within the plant itself.
So do they evacuate the existing tanks first and then take them out of service, put in new tanks, and then pump them full again? Is that how it works?
That would be a operator / a contractor question. Perhaps if Chad is online, would he be able to answer this?
Brian, you want to give a shot?
Sure. Councilman Porter, Brian Butcher from Public Works and /IT. All of these tanks live within a containment area, meaning they sit on a slab that has a curb around them. You're absolutely right. The chemicals, it's taking existing tanks, so we'll run the water plant and we'll run those tanks down as far as we can and then they'll remove the tanks, put the new tanks in, and we'll fill them back up. But should anything spill out in that process, there is a containment area curve around the slab that they sit on.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else have any questions? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by McCutcheon, second by Lane. Your vote at this time, please. And it's a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Item number 5, ordinances and resolutions. 5A, consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Resolution number 2015. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, authorizing the issuance of Imperial Redevelopment District Unlimited Tax Road Bonds, Series 2020, in the amount of $4,635,000. Our own Jennifer Brown, Director of Finance. Jennifer.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Imperial Redevelopment District is a special purpose district that was legislatively created in 2005 by the state legislature by House Bill 3554. The city consented to the district via resolution in 2007, along with the approval of the redevelopment agreement with the district. This district is similar to a MED, but has broader powers because it is legislatively created. Within the district is 746 acres, entirely within the city limits. Next slide. And on the next slide, I'll show you a map. The district is contained within the purple area and is basically bordered by Highway 6 on the west, Voss Road on the north, and Highway 90A on the south, and then goes kind of a long Barney Road on the east. Next slide. Okay, this district developed as Imperial, which is a mixed-use community. It contains single and multifamily residential, retail, and office, along with commercial space. This area will eventually contain the Imperial Market, which will be a mixed-use lifestyle center, which currently includes the Sugar Land Heritage Museum and Visitor Center and the Fort Bend Children's Discovery Center. And it also contains Constellation Field owned by the City of Sugar Land. Next slide. The district has a $1.10 tax rate, of which 90 cents is dedicated to payment of debt service, and 20 cents is currently allocated for maintenance and operations. The district had a 2019 certified value of $272.76 million, and their estimate for January 1st of 2020 is $312.19 million in value. Next slide. The district currently has 5 series of bonds that are outstanding, and these bonds are wholly repaid by the district, levying their tax rate. They also have a series of contract revenue bonds that is pledged, that is repaid by TERS revenues. None of these bonds are the city's obligation to repay. Next slide. So, consistent with the development agreement, the district is proposing to issue $4,635,000 in unlimited tax road bonds, Series 2020. This issue will be used to reimburse the city for Phase 1 of University Boulevard North or South Stadium Drive. And this is consistent with the Third Amendment to the development agreement, which was approved in 2016. And it contains a date certain payment for the city to repay the district share to the city of this roadway by the end of September of this year. And this portion of the project, or this repayment of the project, basically puts the city back whole with our commitment for our responsibility of this roadway project, which in essence is the Bernie Road bypass that had been on our thoroughfare plans for almost 20 years, 20 plus years. And so this essentially reduces the cash outlay by the city to about 20% of the project cost. So this payment, the combination of these bonds along with some cash that the district has on hand, will be used to repay, by the city to repay the interfund loan that we utilize to cash flow this project. Next slide. The district plans to sell the bonds in July of 2020. Staff has reviewed the proposed issuance and it is in compliance with the Council Resolution 11-07, which is the city's policy for special districts within the city limits and ETJ. And consistent with our previous agreements with this district, it does extend the final maturity of the debt by 1 year. But this is consistent with what we have been practicing with this district. We did review this with the Council Finance Audit Committee at their May 7th meeting, and the committee members had no concerns with this issue. Next slide. With that, staff recommends approval of Resolution 20-05, authorizing the issuance of Imperial Redevelopment District Unlimited Tax Road Bonds. I'm sorry, 20-15, not 05. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. Finance Audit, Stuart or Nishad, either one of you want to comment from Finance and Audit?
We looked at this and we were in favor of it. If Nishad will make a motion, I'll second it.
Yeah, Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Kamala, second by Jacobson. Any questions from other council members? Steve?
Yeah, Jennifer, as I understand it from a TERS 3 standpoint, the expenditure of these funds is consistent with the third amendment to the development agreement. And if that's the case, then the TERS 3 is in support of this as well.
That is correct.
Everybody good? If you'll vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 6, municipal utility district bonds. 6A, consideration of an action on authorizing issuance of First Colony Municipal Utility District Number 10 Unlimited Tax Park Refunding Bonds, Series 2020, in the amount of $1,850,000. Ms. Jennifer Brown, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mayor. For my second act this evening, I have refunding for First Colony MUD number 10, which encompasses the Lake Point area wholly within the city of Sugar Land. This district was created in 2004 to provide water, wastewater, and drainage utilities, and this district also has park bond authority. It encompasses 226.3 acres and is located primarily at Highway 6 and US 59, of which 209 acres is developed, and the primary development would be known as Lake Point Town Center. Next slide, you can see the map. The outline in green is the MUD. They did have a couple of annexations after the MUD was originally created. And so you can see along First Colony and US 59, the jug handles there, and then there's a small area north of Highway 6 that are also included in this district. Next slide. This district has a total tax rate of 16 cents, of which 9 cents is devoted to debt service and 7 cents is for maintenance and operations. And their 2019 certified value was $500.4 million. Next slide. There are currently 5 series of bonds for this district, totaling $10.31 million in principal. Again, these bonds are not the city's obligation. Next slide. And the district is proposing a refunding of $1.85 million approximate principal, in unlimited tax park refunding bonds. This will be used to refund the outstanding principal for the Series 2010 park bonds. The board actually met last Wednesday on May 13th. And approved a net present value savings, and the board actually approved up to a maximum principal amount of $2.5 million, but the preliminary official statement is for $1.85 million. And they actually plan to sell later this week if the market holds out. David Smalling, their financial advisor, is on the call as well. If you have any specific questions regarding the district, but this issue was looking very promising as far as net present value savings. Next slide. With that, staff has reviewed the proposed issuance. It is in compliance with city policy. It is a straight refunding, maintaining the existing maturity schedule. And we reviewed this with the Council Finance Audit Committee at the May 7th meeting as well, and recommend approval by City Council. And next slide. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. Council members, any questions of Jennifer? Can I get a motion, please?
Mayor, as the former president of this MUD, I happen to know for a fact that it was run very, very professionally, and therefore I'd like to make the motion to approve.
Got a
Second.
motion by Jacobson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Gandhi. You vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 6B, consideration of an action on authorizing issuance of Fort Bend Municipal Utility District number 128, unlimited tax refunding bond, series 2020, in the amount of $3,130,000. Ms. Jennifer.
Thank you, Mayor. For my final act this evening is Fort Bend MUD 128, which is a district in the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction. It was created in 2006 along with MUDs 126 and 127. Since it was created, the district then annexed the MUDs 126 and 127, and everything is now contained within Fort Bend MUD 128. This district has a strategic partnership agreement with the city, and they do receive water and sewer service from the city. Within that strategic partnership agreement, it provides for the terms of future annexation of the district by the city. And this district is located on the, if you'll go ahead and switch to the next slide, it is along University Boulevard and LJ Parkway on the southeast corner of the city. I guess we call that a corner, but is north of the Brazos River, so it is the green shaded area. Next slide. This is a rather large district. It totals 1,768 acres, which will ultimately develop into a little over 3,000 single-family lots. At the end of March of this year, they had 2,793 of those lots occupied, and about 200 in various stages of construction or vacant lots. There's a significant amount of commercial that has developed within this district, along with 2 multifamily complexes, and their current population estimate is just under 11,000. Next slide. The 2019 tax rate for this district is 49 cents, and 39 cents of that is currently going to fund maintenance and operations, 10 cents to fund debt service, and this district also is covered by Fort Bend LID number 15. They have a 53-cent tax rate, so the total combined tax rate for these two is $1.02. And with their 2019 value was at $1.7 billion, and they're estimated for that should be December of 2019 is just under $1.8 billion. Next slide. This district has 8 series of bonds that are currently outstanding, and they total just under $90 million in principal. Again, these bonds are not the city's obligation. They are fully repaid by the district's tax rate. And next slide. The district is proposing refunding $3.13 million of the Series 2013 bonds. And this issue would be maintaining the original maturity structure and achieving level debt service savings. the board approved a minimum net present value savings of 3% when they approved this issue. And their financial advisor, Christine Crotwell, is on the call. If you have any questions specific to the district, next slide. The district is planning to sell this issue in June, and consistent with the development agreement, they must obtain the city's consent before issuing bonds for refunding purposes. We did consult the resolution 11-07 for this issue, and it is consistent with the terms of that resolution. And with that, staff recommends council approve the issue. We did as well discuss this with the Council Finance Committee on May 7th, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. And just for clarification, this is the Riverstone development, is it not?
That is correct.
Council members, any question of Jennifer and or the financial advisor? Anybody? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
Motion by Kermali, second by, was that McCutcheon?
Yes.
Second by McCutcheon. If you vote at this time, please. And it's a 7-0 vote. Thank you, council members. Moving on to item number 7, City Council City Manager Reports. 7A, City Council Member Reports. Jennifer, let's start with you.
Mental and physical wellness and positive attitudes.
There we go. Ashad.
Mayor, this past weekend, Judge George held a drive-by iftar during the month of Ramadan, and I helped to pass out some meals on Saturday evening in the Telfair area. It was good to help out and get out and do some things. It was nice to do that. That's about it, Mayor.
Thank you. Stuart.
No report, Mayor.
Carol.
No report, Mayor.
Steve.
Ditto.
Best for last, Tamesh.
No report today, Mayor.
Well, let me give you a brief overview of Commissioners Court today. It was a wonderful special meeting. The Commissioner, if you remember in the part of the CARES Act, the county received $134 million, which included monies for all cities in Fort Bend County. They had appointed a group of volunteers. Ms. Jennifer May, our Assistant City Manager, was our representative to that group. They met 2 times. They came up with a budget. By the way, it wasn't the committee that came up with the budget. It was somebody on the court. They did pass it today by a 3-2 vote. Not only was Sugar Land opposed to it, but all the mayors in Fort Bend County were opposed. It was unanimous. And that was because when the funding formula was set up, it was $175 per person per jurisdiction. The way the money was handed out was it was handed out to the $134 million to the county, and the cities were to receive their $175 times their population. That isn't exactly the way the court carved it up. We stand in opposition to it, and we'll just kind of have to see where it goes from here. But that gives you a pretty quick overview of what's going on in Fort Bend County on the CARES Act. Moving on to item number B, 6B. Mike.
Thank you, Mayor. In alignment with Governor Abbott's Open Texas plan, the city has begun returning some of our services. As of Monday, May 18th, all of our departments have begun bringing back remote employees to the 25% level where it's feasible. We've also are continuing our appointment-only processes for building permits and our other services. We will continue to restore city services and bring back additional employees under the recommendations of health authorities and the governor. I am happy to announce our tennis courts and outdoor pickleball courts are open with social distancing. The skate park is open. Probably the most talked about item, Palm Springs Dog Park, I am very happy is back open. so that all of our dogs can go enjoy themselves, Mayor. And the Imperial Park Recreation Center is open at 25% capacity, which includes open gym, exercise classes, badminton, table tennis. We'll continue to open up programs as we receive guidance from the governor and from our health authority. Also like to remind everybody, city offices will be closed Monday, May 25th in honor of Memorial Day. And since we cannot be together this year, we've developed a special Memorial Day video that I have not seen yet, but I have heard is very moving and is top notch. So I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm going to watch it on Memorial Day, but I want to encourage our residents to see that. We'll be pushing it out on social media. And also our residents can visit Sugarland Memorial Park, Remembrance Tower, and our newly installed Eagle sculpture, which is phenomenal. I mean, just an amazing piece of art in honor of the fallen. Thank you, Mayor.
And council members, thank you all for your role in the video. I have not seen it either, but I understand it's pretty moving, and it's certainly a recognition. Memorial Day is for those that fell defending the United States of America, both on our soil here as well as abroad. So if there's nothing else to come before the council, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Motion to adjourn, 6:05.
Wow, almost like National Night Out.
Meredith got it right. She guessed it between 30 and 40 minutes. She's right on the button.